Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. Dan Labbe with Mary Kay Cabot and Ashley Bastock as we are getting closer and closer to the NFL Combine next week in Indianapolis, kind of the unofficial start of the league's off-season. Let's just start there. We're going to go through some stories and some posts here on cleveland.com. Just kind of talk about some of the news, some of the things we're seeing, some things we've put up on the website. Mary Kay, I mentioned that the Combine is next week. It's sort of the unofficial start of the offseason. But when I look on the website on cleveland.com/Browns, where you can also become a Football Insider subscriber, by the way, there is a post from Mary Kay about the key dates. And one of the key dates actually was yesterday, and that is when teams can start designating franchise or transition players. We're coming up on the Combine. Things are going to start moving quickly, and everybody's kind of watching a Browns adjacent player, and that's Lamar Jackson, and what the Ravens might do there. That's kind of the first big domino here, right?
Yes. That is definitely something that they could do just to kind of hold the place and settle things down a little bit and get him franchised. And then, at that point, they could either trade him or, they could try to work through a long-term deal with him. He wants Deshaun Watson money. But I do think that, there's a little bit of tension between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens from everything that I understand. So all is not rosy over there. And there is a world in which the Cleveland Browns can be facing a new Ravens quarterback. And of course, that would be huge news. I mean, if they're going to break in someone new and young, that changes the whole climate in the AFC North. Or do they go out and they get themselves, someone like a Derek Carr or someone like that, or, maybe even an Aaron Rodgers, who knows what they would have up their sleeve. Obviously, they're going to want to contend. They've got a lot of really good football players on their team, and they're not going to just want to have, some kind of a rebuilding year or whatever.
Okay, so Mary Kay, another key date in here that I think is really interesting is, of course, the big one that everybody's looking at, March 13th to March 15th. The legal tampering period starts on March 13th. The new league year begins on March 15th at 4 p.m. But what's interesting here in regards to the Browns is we saw last year, hey, the Browns need to sign a receiver. How much is it going to cost? Who are they going to get? And then a couple days before that tampering period started, news broke that the Browns were in agreement to acquire Amari Cooper. Do you think the approach will be similar this year? Do you think that Andrew Berry is going to be aggressive and try to get something done, or at least get the pieces in place to get something done before that new league year starts? And we might see the Browns acquired this defensive tackle or acquired this wide receiver or something like that, instead of sort of waiting to bring guys in and go through that free agency process.
Yes, I think so. The foundations are all being laid right now, and those things actually get rolling very, very quickly on March 13th. Even though that is the beginning of the legal tampering period, you actually have to start tampering before that so you can do something on March 13th. So, teams are discussing, teams are having their backdoor little conversations, their back channel talks with agents and whatnot. And in some cases, each other, and trying to figure out who's going where and how they're getting there and what they're going to do. And sometimes you see trades happen early and then they're not consummated until later. So that's another thing to watch out for. You're starting to see business heat up now. I mean, I've been saying this, we're hurtling towards the acquisition season. And I do think that the Browns will be aggressive because history has shown us that Andrew Berry is aggressive during these times. He will go out and get one or two of the best free agents. He will make trades. They went out last year. They got Deshaun Watson. I mean, they're not messing around here, right? They're not. I mean, they need to get to the Super Bowl. That's what this is all about. And they will, aggressively grab whatever they can, whenever they can, like they did with Amari last year.
And Ashley, when you look back at that Amari acquisition, it was such a big win for Andrew Berry on a number of levels. But most importantly, it was a big win because the wide receiver market just blew up within a matter of days. Christian Kirk got a huge deal, and then we saw Tyreek Hill get traded, and he got a huge deal. I mean, guys were just getting paid like crazy at the wide receiver position. So Andrew was very wise to kind of get out ahead of that and get a guy with a little bit of team control already and do it for, I mean, I guess I don't want to call a fifth-round pick nothing, but I mean, for what you got, it was essentially nothing.
Yeah, I think Andrew Berry is really good at that, it seems like to me, of predicting where things are going to go. Like you saw it with Amari Cooper. To some extent, you even saw it with them deciding to extend Denzel Ward when they did. Like Jair Alexander got extended right after Denzel, I believe, and he, beat Denzel's contract. Like I think Andrew Berry is very good at predicting those sort of things and making these kind of deals where they're, at a value to the Browns. And at the time, I remember last year, Mary Kay suggested like, oh, maybe they'll go out and trade for Amari Cooper. And that wasn't really, I think, in the thought process of a lot of other analysts or fans, because everyone's just assuming like, oh, well, you're going to take care of it in the draft. And then look what happened like a week later. Obviously, that first round pick is gone and you make the trade for Deshaun Watson. So I think he's very good at like, seeing not just one step ahead, but like 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead sometimes with these deals, like monetarily and, how the dominoes are going to fall with the rest of their roster shaping in an offseason.
Okay, so then this other key date on here that I want